So my question is there such thing as learning too much jazz?
Learning too much of anything could be a bad thing. So, depends on what your intention is, what you're supposed to do with it. So, you might need a little bit of something, and then it could liberate in you what you need to fulfill your purpose. So just with a little bit of knowledge, you can carry it to a certain length. So if we're talking about music, then if it's too much, that means everybody knows what you're doing, they know what to expect, and that's all they get. So, that's what you always do, or what you're always learning. So it could be too much of the same thing as well. So in the balanced, more native approach to it, you learn something and then you do what you're being, right? And use what you've learned in the context of what you're needing to be or willing to be beyond that.
Yeah. So would you say that goes along with being aware of one's space or one's...
Well, who you are, just who you are, what you need. See, I'm an emotional type, so learning licks doesn't apply to me. I don't have a need to do that. It's like memorizing everybody's lingo. I don't have a need to do that. I have something that's primordial. There's a feeling, a psychic feeling. I go with that. And then that's what I play from. That is what chooses the forms, and let's call it the lines and melodies or forces that I play with. It's emotion. It runs deep. And I cultivated that as a drummer when I was a child. And what we did, we just got into this mood, this feeling. This bluesy, soulful openness. Right? Crying sometimes is feeling. Working to feeling. And coming from a poverty level of, let's say, economic, development, then there was a sadness there. People were not exactly ecstatic and happy about their successes. No, there's alcohol, there's drinking, and differences, and problems, issues. So the music was always kind of powerful, strong, working something out or reflecting something powerful in the field.
So it seems like any practice that would help, we're going to talk about musicians specifically right now, but for somebody to know themselves more or know what their obstructions or their inhibitors are.
For instance, Rockland was always asking me when we were young, hey man, the guitar players want to know what you do to play. What do you? They know you're not following this, that, or whatever, but they want to know. And I said, you want to know how I play? Get hit by a truck. Now that's extreme. Get hit by a car. I mean, feel some pain, damn it. Crash your bike or something. Not deliberately, but you learn from pain and suffering. You have to use that. I'm not saying everyone needs it. Not everyone needs it, clearly. Some people want to work more from technical aspects of the music. That's good enough for them, and they want to sound like everybody else. They have other ideals that they have as per what they need to sound like or who they need to sound like. I never had any of that. Just play. Let it come. So if you have a tendency or an openness to a deeper level of consciousness and sensitivity or playing, right, or perception, then it's possible you can access what I'm talking about in your own way, on your own terms. And all the other music, fine, it's there if you need it. It's always a reference. I don't pay much mind to it. I know tunes, right? I was raised in the culture in the beginning as a young player in the jazz culture, so playing tunes, you couldn't escape that. But I never limited myself to that. I said, yeah, I know what they want to do. I know this is a tribally correct thing to do. Play the tunes everybody's comfortable with, and, everybody says honky-dory about it, Hey, that was a nice job, man. Hey, that was a cool version of that. It's the same old nonsense. Break free of it. That's the bottom line, whether you can get beyond it, not whether you can be caught in it, and so that is your limit or your truth. We want to go beyond that. See, no form should be the truth, no particular form.
So would you say that the healing, maybe for a listener, or I mean the musicians too, but do you say the healing comes from that mutual feeling of whatever it is, sorrow or pain, so people can relate to it, and they maybe there's more of a deeper connection, maybe on a heart level of some
It
sort?
could be. There could be cause outside of your life for it. I was with Rashid and the Cats when we had 9/11. And when that was going on, we got together. And there was this mutual sadness and of suffering, feeling of suffering, brokenness, disaster, catastrophe. Right? So that was useful. That was good. And it was like collective, even more so. It was collective. Everybody was already there. Everybody, when we were walking down the street, was feeling the same thing. We were it's like, boom, we were just done in, right? Hurting, heartbroken. Okay. And so that's one example, an extreme example of how we can use our own suffering, which is at an infinitely lesser level of, let's say, emotional stress and pain, but all of it's useful. I've been known to ask musicians who are complaining, whether we're on the scene or not, say, put it to music, man. I don't need to hear about it. Play it. That's what you do with it. Say, oh, my old lady and my mother and my kids and play it, man. We mean talk about it, you play it. That's what it's given to you for, not to brag about it. Blow it. Oh, man.